Welcome back to the Superdoc Insights. Today's episode will take you through the fascinating and the terrifying journey of something small yet capable of a massive destruction, a blood clot. And while this medical phenomena plays out in the body, I want to draw a parallel to something we all experience: the small thoughts and emotions that can grow, travel, and create chaos in our minds and lives. I'll be sharing the story of a patient with a migrating thrombus that took a dangerous path through a patent foramen ovale. And through this story, we will explore how negative thoughts, starting small, can move through us, eventually causing major emotional and mental breakdowns if we don't catch them early on. Most doctors at some point will have dealt with a deep vein thrombosis, a DVT. It's a clot that starts off just as a lump of platelets and fibrin. When you see it after removal, it looks so insignificant, so tiny. You wonder how something so small could cause such harm. But that's the scary part about clots. They are time bombs waiting to explode. The path a clot takes can determine how much havoc it creates. A clot from a DVT can obstruct the hepatic, renal, or the mesenteric veins, leading to ischemia and organ damage. It can travel to the lungs, causing a pulmonary embolism, bringing a patient to the brink of death. And if you are unlucky, the clot may even find a more dangerous path. I'll never forget this one patient I had with a patent foramen ovale, a small hole in the heart. This clot, instead of following a predictable path, found this tiny opening and began to migrate. It moved to and fro between the two sides of the heart, and on the echo, it looked like a bizarre piece of art, the way it danced in motion. If this clot crossed to the other side, it could obstruct the left atrial inflow, causing sudden cardiac arrest. It could move to the coronaries, causing a heart attack, or travel to the brain, resulting in a stroke. All it needed was the path of least resistance. In this patient, this tiny clot had the potential to wreak havoc on such a sophisticated machine, the human body, in an unnoticed way. This patient's clot and the path it took reminds me so much of the negative thoughts we all experience. Just like that clot, negative thoughts start small, a tiny doubt, a fleeting emotion. But if left unnoticed, they move through us, finding paths of least resistance, growing stronger as they travel. We have all heard how a single positive thought can lead to greatness. But it's also true that a single negative thought left unchecked can grow, morph, and cause chaos. For me, certain negative thoughts have the power to drain my energy for an entire day. And if I leave them unchecked, they build up, reducing my efficacy and shifting my emotional state. It's just like that clot, starting small but capable of destroying so much. In medicine, we often refer to something called the virtuous triad, which explains how clots form. It involves three factors: a vascular injury, stasis, and hypercoagulability. In life, I have realized there is a parallel to this triad when it comes to negative thoughts. A trigger. Just like a clot forms when there is injury to a blood vessel, negative thoughts often start with a trigger: an argument with a friend, a disagreement with a coworker, or a tough moment with family. That's the starting point. In DVT, stasis means the blood isn't moving. In life, it is the idle brain. When we have too much time to dwell on something, our brain, much like stagnant blood, starts to turn these small thoughts into bigger ones, crafting stories, adding layers, and building something far more dangerous than what initially triggered us. Some people are more prone to forming clots because of their body's tendency towards hypercoagulability. Similarly, when we are emotionally sensitive or already on the edge from multiple life stressors, it's easier for this negative thought to take root and grow. A small trigger can suddenly feel overwhelming, pushing us to the brink. I have experienced this in my own life. There have been times when a single incident, a simple disagreement, or a minor criticism triggered a cascade of thoughts. My mind, left idle, gave these thoughts room to grow. I would overthink, turning a small moment into a massive emotional hurdle. And if I was already stressed or frustrated, these thoughts would snowball, affecting not just my work but my entire emotional state. Sometimes my sensitivity just increased because I was hungry or because I was sleepless, which I think every one of us at one point of a day we are. So we are all prone to being at an increased sensitivity throughout the day. It's fascinating and terrifying how one small incident can lead to such a destruction if we let it. The first step to stopping this vicious cycle is awareness, recognizing these small thoughts before they become malignant. Just like how we scan for clots in the body, we need to scan our minds for the clots of negative thoughts. Don't let the idle mind dwell on them, and don't allow them to find paths of least resistance where they can grow. Recircuit your thoughts with something more positive. When you become aware of a negative thought forming, take action, redirect it, acknowledge it, and replace it with a more constructive one. Because just like that clot, the only person these negative thoughts harm is you. As we wrap up today's episode, I want you to take a moment to think about the negative thoughts that might be creeping through your mind. Are they finding paths of least resistance, spreading, and building into something bigger? Just like a clot can silently travel through the body, wreaking havoc, negative thoughts can silently take over our minds. But the key to stopping the damage is to recognize them early, before they can take hold. Address them, recircuit them, and protect yourself from the chaos they cause. Thank you for joining me today on the Super Doc Insights. As always, stay balanced, stay healthy, and remember, be aware of the small thoughts before they create havoc in your life.